Looking back over the brief history of Heritage Green's replant, we can see that each year has had its own focus. Year 1 was about figuring out what it meant to be unapologetically family-focused through worship and discipleship. Year 2 was about responding to our call to mission in our community. Year 3 will be about addressing another charge from Jesus, His Great Commission, to go and make disciples of all nations. For us as a church, this will mean discovering what our intentional evangelism strategy will be.
Over the past 2 years, we've seen a steady stream of people who have come to worship with us for the first time. And many of these are families who have never been to church before. And many of them have stayed and become part of our congregation, and that excites us to see that kind of organic growth. That is exactly what we came here to do, is to reach out and to grow the kingdom. And yet we know that we can't just sit here and wait for people to arrive. Ultimately, we're going to have to be more intentional. And so as we started studying different models of evangelism and reaching out, we rediscovered a program that many of us already know, and that is the Alpha program. We tend to think of Alpha as a great way of putting everyone on the same theological playing field. And it is, and it's also a tremendous way to build leaders. But first and foremost, Alpha was designed as a way of reaching new people for Christ. It was a way of allowing people to come and talk about their spiritual questions and experiences in a safe place and a safe environment, and then to encounter the gospel and to encounter the life-changing example of Jesus Christ.
Typically, Alpha is an evening program consisting of a dinner time shared together. Our church leadership felt that if we were to do Alpha, that we ought to use our most valuable piece of real estate in the week to host it, Sunday morning. During this time, we've been blessed to connect with a leader named Graham Singh, the leader of a very successful church plant in Montreal, who also use Alpha on the Sunday morning. Part of what makes Graham an additional blessing is that he studied in the same community in England where Alpha was developed. Graham has been invaluable in helping us to reconceive what Sunday morning looks like with Alpha in our context. We're excited about what this opportunity will provide in the way of spiritual growth for our whole church family, but also as an easy invitation point for all of us to invite folks with questions about God, questions about faith, questions about spirituality, to come and join us.
Part of what we're asking you to invest in tonight is our hosting of Alpha here in January. Now, currently this sanctuary is set up in a traditional way, but starting in January, it's going to be set up with tables and chairs, much like a breakfast hall. And in fact, we've had a lot of experience doing this. We've hosted Mother's Day breakfasts and Easter breakfasts and Family Day breakfasts. And this will give us a chance to flex our hospitality muscles for 12 weeks. We're going to be hosting a breakfast here every Sunday morning. And then following breakfast, we'll have a worship service with Alpha embedded right into it. And this will be a chance for people to explore and ask questions and have conversation with each other, and ultimately to hear the gospel of Jesus Christ, the life-changing message of the Word. Now, from the very beginning, Heritage Green has been about putting aside our own preferences on a Sunday morning to allow God to do what He's going to do. And this is just one more chance for us to put that philosophy into practice. We want to thank you so much for investing in evangelism and outreach here at Heritage Green. We want to thank you for being partners in God's plan to grow His kingdom in this community. And we can't wait to see what God has planned for us next.